For the longest time, I was mad at my parents over something that they did 10 years ago. And you're like, you guys are probably like, Brent, it happened in 2013. Why are you still thinking about it today? And here's the backstory. I've probably told this before, but not in the exact form or context, but I have mentioned this before. So, like, at the time, when I was like about 5, 6, or 7, I was with my friends and such, just like any other kid was. And then my family, we moved out and all that. We had to move away because of like job related issues and all that. Then I was at school for another few years, and then we moved again. And that part wasn't exactly what bugged me the most, but what really bugged me was the fact that they would send me to summer school. And my thought at that time as a 10, 11, 12-year-old would be like, oh my God, summer school, really? I had to study for like 10 freaking months, and now you're like making me go to like summer school. Like, that's so ridiculous. And like, my friends don't have to go to summer school. Why are you making me do this? Um, and like it wasn't just the summer school issue that was the thing, like I would have to. I'm not sure about any of you other Chinese kids, but like the typical Chinese kid had to go play piano, go swimming, take karate, just a bunch of things. Oh, learn Chinese. That part's obvious. That I had basically no interest in doing whatsoever. But I think the summer school was the nail in the coffin. I especially remember in grade 8 when I had like the best grade point average of all time. They're like, nope, you're still going to summer school. I'm like, oh god damn it. And like I discussed with my best friend Jacob, about it, and then like and we had a pretty serious talk, and then he was like, so you felt that if the ball was in your court, you would have done it differently. And yeah, I would have. And I still do, but let me explain that in a sec. My point is, like, I still kind of feel this way. When you're young, you should like, be able to take as much free time as you can, so that when you're older, because when you're older, you don't have as much free time, so you won't end up regretting it, saying, why did you waste your childhood? And but my parents, especially my mom, my dad, sort of, and it would be like, when you're young, you got to study, you got to, work hard and all that. So we've had this conflict for the longest time. And then I'd see, sorry, I'd see people on social media being like, oh, they're hanging out with their friends, they're posting on their stories, and it added to my depression a lot. Like even in college too. I remember in college, like there were kids who like didn't have to take any courses in the summer, but then it was like four courses every semester. And that part, it just upsetted me so much. The What finally made me change was, sort of, one was, just being in a community that I could hang out with all the time, and just reflecting on what I could have done different. Darman was a big factor of it. Like, I know some of you guys make fun of his life lessons, but for the most part, they're okay. One of them is like, if you appreciate, if you focus too much on the things you don't have, then you can forget to appreciate the things that you do have. Like, for everything you wish that you had, another person is 10, there's 10 other people who are wishing what you have right now. I'm sure that there's people who I'm sure there's people who, would love to be able to go to summer school, or there's people who would love to, have any free time at all, basically. And looking back on it, like there's another lesson I learned by Life Lessons with Luis. It's that whenever you can, blame yourself, because whether you like it or not, you were part of the situation. You can't change how other people do or react, but you can change how you react to the situation. So for me, looking back on it now, well, I I still had August, right? Like, I mean, even after July summer school was over, I still had August, and my parents still sent me to summer camp on some of those times, grade 6 and 8 they did. And maybe I could have worked better on my negotiating skills. Like said to my parents, I felt I did really well this semester. I don't want to go to summer school. I had a sort of a pretty soft heart back then. And also maybe I should have been more proactive. And even if they sent me to summer school, I should have made the most out of the remaining time I had. You might not all of you, but some of might be like, oh, but why can't your parents just do it the way you want or something? Guys, you have to remember that I am asking to change a style that they have kept affirmative for over 50 years. They've had this sort of mindset for over 50 years. So suddenly asking them to change, you know how hard it is to break a habit, right? Especially for that prolonged period of time. And looking back on it now, summer school is actually not that bad. At least you're doing something similar to Taekwondo, similar to, playing piano. I sometimes make my own songs. I just haven't, I've been making my own songs. I just haven't posted them on YouTube yet. I don't know why I haven't. Um, and the way to do it also is, if you're set in your ways and they're set in their ways, try to negotiate the best result, because I'm not going to be able to completely satisfy their request, and they're not going to be able to completely satisfy my request. So the best way is, sort of find a way in the middle that, you're not, both of you are not entirely happy, but at least it will make do. So in the second year, I finally had the courage to ask them, and they finally allowed me to take two courses, which is two courses. It's much easier. One of them was math, and the other was computer science. So technically it was only taking one course, right? And I still had a lot of free time that semester. So I mean, that was fine too. And they even eased up in the end, because my mom eventually got whitewashed. By the way, I made a video on my recap of summer 2019. Go watch it. That was the semester I'm talking about. My mom even eased up in the end, because in the summer of 2022, I had 4 courses remaining. And then she was like, but you know what, Brent? You can take 3 courses now, and you can leave your last course in your 6th year. So that's what I did. And it shows that she eventually budged and eased up. So, you know, a little goes a long way, right? Um, yeah, that's pretty much what I want to say. And I guess it's about the mindset, honestly. There's some credence to what she's saying too. I mean, when you're young, you got to work and study, because I don't entirely agree with it, but I guess there's a point, because I guess it relates to the education, because when you're old, and if you if you don't have a very good job, then you can't retire early at 55 or 60, and you'd have to keep working. And it's much harder to work then than now, because, I heard after the age of 32, your body starts to deteriorate. Your hearing isn't as good as it is and such. And at 68, you start having a bad back. And it gets worse at 75. And imagine having to work then, or especially going to a warehouse and carrying boxes. That would be really, really torturous. Um, so I guess there's that. Yeah, they're a lot better now. But I will say the one thing I like about their rules is that it's a foolproof way to keep you out of trouble. The way I've done it sometimes, there's times I haven't gotten in trouble, but there's times I have. But with this, it's basically foolproof. It's a little overboard, I will tell you that much, but I personally don't like working overtime. The thought of working overtime, if I ever get a full-time job and do 40 hours a week, no. Um, I'll do it if I have to, but my mom, I think she's a bit of a workaholic. She voluntarily does it, and I I'm just trying not to be too much on her spectrum. Imagine if I did the amount she did and more. Like, do you guys know that Elon Musk works 80 to 100 hours a week, like every single week. He has 3 days of vacation per year. And that to me is too extreme because he's missing out on childhood time. I bet he's not even that happy. And then when I told my mom the concept about 2 months, she's like, Elon Musk can launch 3 rockets to Mars in 2 months. I'm like, yeah, to go to a place we'll probably go in a million years. I'll be freaking dead by then. um, so yeah, I guess the way to do it is one, blame yourself, see what else you could do. I'll admit I didn't really spend my free time that wisely because I was sort of a gaming addict. I still am, but I'm trying hard now. And so to summarize, one, it's to try to see what you could do to fix it, and two, negotiate. That's the thing. And you might end up thanking your parents 10 years later. You guys probably won't believe me now for those of you whose your parents are making you do all those extracurriculars, but always remember that there's someone who wishes they had what you had. So that's pretty much all I've got to say for this video, and I'm not so mad anymore. I'd love to stay, but for now, I gotta jump. I'll see you guys on the other side of the bridge. Catch you next time.